Welcome ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to take a look at the Warden tank build for Morrowind. A few very important things before we start. Now there is a lot of good options for tanking setups, this is just one. And I have more gear options and all that kind of stuff on my website, I will put a link in the description. And I also highly recommend checking out the Whirler's website, which is about tanking everything for Elder Scrolls Online. He also has Morrowind builds, so it's probably nice to also see his builds and the differences. I always say, like, take the most important information out of the build videos and then adapt your build. Don't just copy paste builds, because you need to understand the idea why you run certain abilities and all that kind of stuff, otherwise you will fail. When we look at our stats, when I use a potion, almost 2k magicka and really high resources. So here, very important, you need more stamina than magicka. Because when you pick up spear or orb synergy, it always restores the higher maximum resource pool. So we have slightly more stamina, so we will always get back stamina from spears. If you have higher max magicka, you will always get magicka. As a tank, you need to block a lot, so stamina is more important. That's why we have a little bit more. We have really high health, I will explain that later. Like I said, you can run Eben, no problem if you want to support your group more. We have the Atronach Mundus Stone. We are a vampire. If you're stage 2, you get more magic recovery. At the moment I'm only stage 1, so I miss a little bit. And Undeath reduces your damage taken by up to 33% based on your missing health while you are below 50% health. Now you know, when we have aggressive Warhorn active, we have like over 50k health. So when we drop below 50%, we are still at 25k health, so, and we already start benefiting from the damage mitigation. That's why Vampire is a really nice choice for a tank. In terms of race, Argonian is probably the best one. Imperial, Nords, everything works. It's just I prefer Argonians because they give you 9% max health and the resourceful perk, this is so strong. When you drink a potion, you restore 4620 health, magic and stamina. Now, on top of this here, that's basically over 12k resources from one button click. It's insane. You can use it every 45 seconds. You will never run out of resources. Buff food this year. And again, like, the build only has been tested in dungeons. It probably also works in trials, but like, we are on the PTS server here, because I don't have the Warden level yet on the live server, but they updated the PTS to the same version as the live server, so everything is the same. In terms of gear, basically, now there is a few things. What I like to do, like, I only had divine gear available here. The best in slot for me is full infused. Infused on armor, infused on shield, infused on weapons. If you want, you can run sturdy on the small pieces, it's up to you. I just really like the max resources. And I have tri-stat glyphs on all my armor, simply to get the most out of it. And you want to run 5 heavy, 1 light, 1 medium, because of the Undaunted passive to gain 6% more max resources. So those sets are really nice. You see we get a lot of health, and the 5-piece bonus gives you another 4k health. Same with the Plague Doctor, 5860 health and 2 health bonus. It's just insane. That's why we have so nice stats. Then I chose to run 2 separate monster sets just to get 2 magic recovery bonus. Now you can run Bloodspawn, you can run Warden, or I think, yeah, the Lord Warden is the name. You also can run Pirate Skeleton if you want, up to you. I just like the magic recovery because we have a lot of magicka support abilities, which I will explain later. Then I have 2 shield play enchantments, like block cost reduction and 1 magic recovery. Again here, if you want to run free block cost, run free. I just think 2 is enough. Shields, tri-stat, infused. And here the same, I just don't have infused gear on the PTS, so I had to run divine and precise. Infused is obviously better because it will boost the Crusher enchantment in terms of effectiveness, and it will reduce the cooldown. Same with the weakening enchantment. This also works on bosses, so the bosses do less damage. That's why infused is also nice. That's it about the gear setup. Let's get to the champion points and then to the skills, and then you will see why this like high health synergizes really well. Because we have really strong healing abilities. Basically 64 Arcanist, 2 Tenacity, you know, it is very important. There is jump points now, a lot of jump points. On my website you will find the link to them. I just put 2 here because I didn't know where else to put it. We have 44 Tumbling and 100 Shadow Ward. Now you don't necessarily need Tumbling, you also can put points into Warlord if you want to reduce the cost of Break Free. But we are blocking, so we shouldn't really get stunned. Dodge rolling, heavy hitting attacks is probably more important. This is the most important perk for a tank because it gives you 25% damage, like a block cost reduction. Then here, because we have a lot of healing abilities, I put 100 into Blessed, 72 into Elfborn, and here I just put the rest. I want 30 here to get the Riposte, just to get a little bit more damage output, but it doesn't really matter. The most important ones are those 2 here. Then we have 61 Ironclad. This reduces your damage taken against direct damage attacks. This is really nice, this is new. So overall from the champion system you have more mitigation than previously. I just put 3 points here, because didn't know where else. 48, 49, 49. So those here scale up to 15% in total, and you see with only half the points invested, we already have 11%. That's insane. This here scales up to 25%, and with only half the points we are already at 18%. It's insane. So the champion system is more front loaded now, and it's just easier to gain more out of it, even if you don't have maxed out champion points. I will talk a little bit more in depth about this stuff here because the class is new. First, let's check out the abilities. Now, once again, there is a lot of really nice things you can use. There is so many good options. It's just I have this set up because it worked really nice. Just very important, play around with abilities. Don't just copy paste this. Absorb Magicka. Now you see the amount of damage you can block is increased by 8% and the cost of blocking is reduced by 8%. So that's why I have it here. This is my main bar. Basically a must have. And you also can use this. Gives you like bolster your defenses, absorbing up to 24k damage from the next spell projectile. Cast at you and healing you for 80% of your max health. So if we get hit by, let's say, a magic attack from an enemy boss, it absorbs up to 23k damage and we get health back, and our health is really high, so we actually get healed by quite a lot. Heroic Slash must have applies minor maim to the enemy, reducing their damage done by 15%, and you gain minor heroism, increasing your ultimate regeneration. Ulti regen on this class is insane. I will get to that in a second. It's so it's whatever. Pierce armor. Now here, this is your taunt. It places major fracture and major breach on the enemy, so your damage dealers will do more damage because the enemy's resistance is reduced. Bull Netch, aka Belly Netch. Now I chose the stamina morph because we are tanking obviously, and it's just nice to have some kind of extra stamina return, because we know when we block our stamina recovery is 0. Every time you block it drops to 0, and it takes 2 seconds or a second till it starts charging again. This here doesn't matter whether you block or not, you will always get 4k stamina back over 25 seconds. And you see, you don't drop block when you cast it. It has quite a long animation, but doesn't matter. You don't drop block. Polar Wind. Envelop yourself in winter's winds, healing for 12% instantly and an additional 2% health every 2 seconds or 10 seconds, and heals a nearby ally for 12% of your max health. That's why our health also synergizes well. I have really almost, if I don't spam this too much, I have almost unlimited magicka. If I drop low on magicka, I can use a potion, bam, almost back to full. So that's why I say, like, you don't even necessarily need a full healer with this setup, because you have really nice healing. Healing Thicket now. This costs 75 ulti points. It also will attract wood elves, because there's huge trees that come out of the ground. Now what does this do? Instantly swell a healing forest around you or an ally in the area, restoring 6k health. The forest continues to heal you and allies in the area for 3k every 1 second or 6 seconds. When effect ends, allies continue to receive 15k healing or 4 seconds. Basically, the moment this runs out, you almost have it ready again. It's like, it's the strongest healing ability in the game, I think. And it's so cheap. Now I will explain later how you can keep this up. Because of, well, it's because of this here. So it has a 6-second duration, so you need to get used to keep it up. Spin a shield of ice around you to absorb projectiles. Each absorb restores 578 magicka. Shield breaks after 3 projectiles. And now after each absorb you gain major heroism. That's ultimate gain by 3 every 1.5 seconds. Basically your base ultimate regeneration is 3 points every 1 second, and then you add another 3 every 1.5 seconds, and we have Heroic Slash, which gains us minor heroism, granting you 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. As long as you get hit by projectiles, your ultimate will skyrocket up. It's insane. But you need to understand and to know in what dungeons you are or trials. Like, is there projectiles? If yes, this skill is a must-have. If there is no projectiles, you can swap it out with something else because it's useless. If there is no projectiles. I will show you that in a second, once I'm done explaining, just to show you the ulti gen. Ice Fortress, now this is very nice. It gives you major ward and major resolve, increasing your resistances, and it also gives this to your nearby allies. And you gain minor protection, reducing incoming damage by 8%. Also looks pretty cool. And it's just a huge group buff, because your damage dealers, your healer will also get it, so it's really nice. The other morph has a bigger radius and costs less, but I think the minor protection is nice to have as a tank. Our ranged taunt. Leeching Vines, so what does this do? Grow vines to embrace you or the lowest health ally in front of you for 10 seconds, so very important, in front. This is conal, like if there's a dude behind you, he probably will not get it. The vines heal the target for 1400 health each time they take damage. So every time they get hit a little bit, they get a little bit health. And also it applies a minor lifesteal to enemies that damage the target for 10 seconds. Gives you 720 health every 1 second. So it's just a lot of small healing over time, which is nice to have. Subterran Assault. This is only here for trash fights. It's basically a AoE, Major Fracture and Major Breach. You do not spam this. You only need to use it every 10 seconds to hit as many targets as possible to reduce their physical and spell resistance. You don't necessarily need to use that, you can use something else, but I just think it's better to use this once than spam this like 10 times. Aggressive Horn gives a lot of max resources to everyone, and it gives the crit buff to your group members, so it's nice to have. This is basically the basic setup, so you see we have a lot of resource management from skills already and potions. Now passives. There's a lot of cool things here. Activating an animal companion ability grants 4 ultimate. It has 8-second cooldown. So if you have time, you can activate this every 8 seconds. This costs nothing, so it doesn't hurt to reactivate it to get the extra 4 ulti points. Then we have, where is it? Here, increases your magic and stamina recovery by 12% if an animal companion ability is slotted. We have the bull netch here, and we have the assault here. That's so we don't drop the magic recovery. We don't need stamina recovery, but we want the magic recovery. Nature's Gift. Now this is one of the strongest passives I've actually ever seen in terms of resource management. When healing an ally with a green balance ability. We have Leeching Vines, we have the Healing Thicket that is always on someone. So this constantly procs almost every second. When healing an ally with a green balance ability, gain 250 magic or stamina. Restores your lowest resource pool. So when you have less magicka, you will get magicka back. This is percentage based. So if you have 70% magicka and 80% stamina, then you get magicka. If you have 50% stamina and 100% magicka, you will get stamina back. This procs a lot. It's a lot. 250 every second equals 500 recovery on your stat sheet here, because those stats are for every 2 seconds. Then the others are nice to have. I mean, this here we get this from the aggressive warhorn, and you also have access to major mending. You also could use this, but I don't think it's that good, so I prefer this here. Like I said, experiment around, don't just copy paste. Now this is rather weak tree in terms of passives, but the most important ones are here in terms of resource management. Obviously there's a lot more, like there's also Constitution, so every 4 seconds we get 541 magic and stamina back. It's just so much resource management, like it's really hard to get to 0 actually on any tank setup. Tanks are very strong in Morrowind in terms of resource management. Now this is kind of the setup. I do hope you understood the idea behind the build setup. And now let's just quickly showcase the ultimate regeneration from this build. Now to show you the ulti chain, when we just kind of attack those here, you see when they use the shield it breaks, like one of the thingies just disappears. That means it procced. So now let's get our happy tree going, and I will use this.
Let them have it.
Try to keep up all the buffs, obviously. We still get healing over time.
Fire.
It will take time to get used to it, but you see the healing tree is already ready again. It's just so much stuff that you can, like, it's just insane.
Let them have it.
They're still healing over time, and it's almost ready again. There's so much healing, and in the meantime, if I want to, I still can use other healing abilities. It's not really a problem. But that's just kind of to showcase how fast you can get the ulti. It will take time to get used to this, because it only has a 6-second duration. So yeah, that's basically the main problem. And you have to activate the bull netch every 8 seconds to benefit from the passive and all that kind of stuff. And you see, in terms of resources, it's really not a problem. And it's ready again. So we can, and it's a really strong heal. That's why I say you don't necessarily, if you know what you're doing, you don't need even a full healer, because you just can spam this healing tree a lot. And you have this ability as well. That's just kind of the showcase in terms of ulti regen. If you want, You can use bot spawn to get even faster. You can use Tavas if you want to get faster ulti gen. Then this ultimate probably has a zero downtime. It's kind of hilarious. It's just another option you can run. I really want you to understand that there is a lot of really cool options for tanks, and don't just copy paste. That's it for now. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. Like the video if you thought it was useful. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.